The New Species product line of high-potency nutritional supplements empower your body to fight for you so you can enjoy your life full of energy, strength, and endurance.
Our mission at NuSpecian is to offer products to help purify and rebuild your body system so you can lead a better, longer life.
NuSpecian formulas are designed to comprehensively meet your body's nutritional needs. A tablespoon can replace many bottles of tablets filling your cabinets. NuSpecian's raw, plant-based ingredients are easily absorbed and used by your body. It's safe and effective nutrition that you can really feel. Each of our formulas is designed to support your body as a whole, allowing it to do the work it was designed to do.
My labs have shown that my body's gotten stronger, so I know NuSpecian works.
Maintain, improve, or rebuild your health with the help of NuSpecian.
Order now at NuSpecian.com.
Welcome to the NuSpecian Live. I am Jillian.
And I'm Aston. Good morning.
NuSpecian's mission is to help our clients live better and longer. NuSpecian invents and manufactures our own line of high-potency herbal formulas that support your body to be resilient against the toughest of health challenges. We're all on our own health journey, so a good health choice for you might mean something different for me. And that's why we host this Q&A every Saturday at 10 a.m. so that you can get the answers to your questions that will help you continue to move along your health journey. So thank you for joining us today. If you are joining us on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, thank you. I just want you to know that you won't be able to engage in the chat if you stay there. So you're welcome to just watch us there. And if you'd like to be able to submit questions or comment on things that we're saying, please take a few seconds. You won't miss anything. And just go to newspecies.com on your browser in your phone. And you can click on live streams, scroll down to the second live stream, which is our Q&A, and you will immediately be right here in the live stream with us and be able to communicate in the chat.
Wonderful.
All right. We do have some pre-submitted questions, and then we have one live question here in the chat.
Okay.
I'll open it up to you just to be sure you didn't have anything you wanted to say before we get started.
I wanted to mention that article that I probably didn't send it to you.
You did, but because I don't pay for the Washington Post, I couldn't read it.
Oh, I see. Yes. So I sent it to my family members, and definitely they will not be able to read it.
So don't let anyone tell you they read it.
So then I don't know how to get it posted, but it's an article about how younger people in between the ages of 30 and 60 are dying more than ever in the history of the world, or should I say in the recorded history. And they're dying from kidney disease because of diabetes and blood pressure, because more young people are getting diabetes and blood pressure, liver disease, and they're not even mentioning heart disease. So kidney disease, liver disease, a lot of them are getting lung disease as well. And the belief is that, the assumption is that they're still doing genetic testing, and some of the toxic materials that are found in people's bodies, the food, the air, the water, the whole planet seem to be completely now polluted. So all of you, if you have family members, and I'm not going to be discriminatory, but I'm going to say younger family members who have high blood pressure and diabetes, because they have it younger, they are more likely to die younger. And again, ages 30 to 60. And this has been the trend, by the way, for many years now. But the pandemic has seemed to make it worse, where even if you took the vaccine, or if you got exposed to the coronavirus, even if it didn't make you sick, the virus seemed to leave something behind, or maybe it's dormant. That could be the reason why a lot of these people, and then with older people, it's worse. So they're now comparing death rates to the pandemic death rates. And there's a professor, a scientist at Yale University who was cited in the article that stated that it is the big dirty secret that the government and the medical system is not going to talk about because they don't want to cause panic. So it's that bad. So why am I saying this to you? At some point, these articles, they become available on the internet. Just wait a week or two, and it may just be sitting out there where you can read it on the internet. But I've been seeing that trend now for at least 10, 15 years, and now it's just worse. And we at New Species, you know that we help people who are sick. 99% of our clients are sick people. So we talk with people every day, and I see all these young people who are coming in with blood pressure, diabetes, kidney failure, kidney disease. Is just horrendous. And by the way, this study, it left out heart disease and cancer, the two top killers of the human species. Those two have gotten worse. So you said,
remember back when we first started New Species, and we had some of our quotes and statistics that we would use. And I remember one of the things that we would say is that this generation would be the first generation that does not outlive their parents. And now it seems like studies continue to confirm that all these years later.
a lot of the young people, are people in their 30s, 40s, and even 50s, who bring them to meet people, their parents and grandparents. And those parents and grandparents are way healthier than they are. So a lot of young people are dying. The media is not reporting it, and that's a critical part of this article, that the government knows, especially with obesity, it's causing massive damage. So it's not just fentanyl and all these other drugs, but it's causing a lot of issues. So those of you who have children, even they're in their 20s and 30s, keep an eye on them and make sure you know what's going on with them health-wise, because the foods too are very bad. A lot of people eat. I see the way our children eat. If we were to allow them to just eat what they want, they probably get diabetes before they turn 15 or 16. Mm-hmm. Because they just gravitate to all the bad foods, like their, I don't want to say their friends, but other people at school. So you all should be aware of that. Sorry to go off on this diversion, but that's probably one of the most powerful articles in health I have ever read. Mm. Young people between 30 and 60 are dying at a massive rate. So you all be aware, and spread the word to your family members. Make sure they're eating well. I'm not even saying they should take New Species. Just make sure they're eating well. And when you get that article, I'm going to post it as well when it becomes available. Unless we can buy it. I'll try to see if we can buy rights to it and put it on Facebook or on our website.
Okay. Okay. Let me just ask something. There's a question, and then if you have something else to say.
So Mary will love this one. So yesterday I was talking to a gentleman. He's probably listening now. He said he was, he tried to join our program as much as he can. He lives out there in Florida. So he had stage 4 prostate cancer spreading to his spine and possibly spreading to his lung. Usually when prostate cancer spread to the spine, it gets to the lung. And so I said to him, why don't you do radiation or chemo? He said, well, I don't want to touch those things because I know and I see what they could do. And, my antenna just perked up. And then, I started talking to him about why he should do radiation, why he should do chemo, because we can't guarantee that he's going to get well. he sounded like a very dignified, very smart person. At first, I thought he was a doctor. And then he said, well, I also have complete kidney failure, and I've refused dialysis. So I said, what do you know, sir, that we don't know, we ordinary people out here? He said, well, he was an officer in the Marine Corps, Green Beret, and he knows everything. And immediately this article I just mentioned just came back to me, the distrust, because that's one of the points in the article, that it used to be black folks who distrust the medical system. Now the article says white folks detest the medical system in the United States. So, and then here this gentleman who is an officer in the Marine Corps said what he knows. It's just incredible. The message here to you is that we have to take care of ourselves and take care of our children.
Yeah, and I always add to that we will all eventually need the medical system in some capacity, but if we can mitigate the way that we need it and only leave that up to like serious emergencies versus just our daily healthcare, by not developing chronic diseases, we can avoid getting stuck in that medical prison.
Right. Some doctors would tell me, because we have medical doctors who are also our clients, just so you know. So some medical doctors would tell me that when they have a certain health condition, they get out they have that tool that they use to calculate age, how long you're likely to live. Like if you have kidney failure, the life expectancy is 6 to 8 years, and then you probably die after, unless you go into some really huge dietary regimen, like a lot of our clients who live to 10, 12, and even more than that, years now, because they've been on NuSpecian. So the doctors would say to me, they calculate how long they're likely to live by not using medication. They work it out. And if they find out that if they take the medication, they're going to die sooner, they don't take the medication. Medical doctors are saying that. Well, they're, what can I say?
I think you said it. All right, so we have our first question.
Okay.
I won't use the name just because once this video sits up on our
platform,
on our archive, the chat won't be visible, so they don't have to worry.
Okay.
All right. So they are saying that they're seeing signs of shingles, and those signs are small pimples, itching, and redness at different areas. It goes away, but then it comes back at different times. They've been using the vitamin C to help improve their immunity, our vitamin C, but they believe they need something more powerful. And they did have chickenpox as a child.
Right.
So they just want to know if there's anything that we have that can help them deal with it. Right.
So first of all, make sure you get formally diagnosed that you have shingles, because if you have, whether rash or whatever it is, it could be so many different things. There are literally thousands of viruses and bacteria out there that can cause that. Unfortunately, our medical system only track a few of those viruses or bacteria. But if you had the chicken pox, then the people who come to us, I can give you our experience, who had chicken pox, they're the ones that, by the time they turn 30, 40, 50, they get shingles, or older, they get shingles. So it's an infection. So if you have shingles, it's an infection. So you may need to take something more powerful. Now, one of the reasons scientists have given for people to have shingles, especially after they had chickenpox and took the vaccine, is that the vaccine may not have worked as well. So the virus or the bacteria could be dormant in your body, and the immune system just can't get to it. So I know you're going to wonder, so why I take the vitamin C and it's not good enough? Well, when it comes to viruses and bacteria, you can all Google this. The the DNA and gene, or especially the DNA of a virus and a bacteria, they look almost exactly like our DNA structure. So sometimes our immune system will just go, white blood cells will just go right by the dormant virus and not know, or the cell with the virus and not know that, there's a virus in it. So you have to make your immune system really strong. So you may need to get something more than vitamin C. You may need probably the God formula or even the LNU25, which is our most powerful rebuilder. So you look at your lab reports, a lot of you, and everything I say applies to all of you, even if you don't have shingles, because everything comes back to the foundation of the immune system, how strong it is. So if you look at your lab reports, and the 16 to 18 white blood cells that are tracked in your CBCs may be perfect. And you may look at it and say, oh boy, my immune system is good because even my WBC is normal. No. There are people who come to me with stage 4 cancer and all their white blood cells are normal.
Wow.
So you can't just look at the lab and assume that, you're fine. A lot of people do that and they do it to their detriment. So you may need to add, the vitamin C may not be powerful enough. The vitamin C is usually good for like colds or flu, something just very ordinary, but then you have to have been taking that vitamin C for weeks or months to build up your system. So just having the issue nose taking the vitamin C is not going to work as well. You have to be taking it probably all the time so that when you get hit by a virus or a bacteria, the body is strong enough to just produce the antibodies to paint it and kill it. That's simply how our bodies work. So you may need to get the God Formula 1 or the 4 and the LNU25. And if you have a dormant virus, all the more reason that you need to make sure you clean it from your system, because antibiotics obviously are not going to work. And all that's left for the doctors to give you are anti-inflammatory steroids.
I think you make a good point when you say about like vitamin C needing to be taken all the time. And this really is a big thing we have to differentiate between when we talk with our clients. So we do sell some individual vitamins. We do sell like a multivitamin, a multimineral, and then we do sell some individual herbal extracts. But all of these are going to be best used all the time as part of maintaining healthy function of whatever system, that body system that herb or vitamin is good for. But a lot of folks don't think about herbs or vitamins until they're not feeling well.
Right.
And so then they want to say, well, which herb is good for this health issue? Or, just which one thing can I buy that's going to fix this? And whenever you want to do one thing, you want to be thinking about that for maintenance of a healthy functioning body. When things aren't well, that's when you need the formulas. And that's why Aston focuses mostly on our rebuilding formulas, where there's many herbs or multiple herbs that all provide an overlapping and a diversity of powerful nutrients. So that's why there's always a difference between maintenance and rebuilding. And typically when you call NuSpecian, most people will ask, what do you have for? And they're looking for just like one thing that they can buy that's going to be like the cure. And there really is no such thing as cure. The only thing you can do is empower your body to fix itself. And very often, once something has gone wrong, you do need to use a more powerful combination of plants and potentially a combination of formulas that have combinations of plants. So a lot of support.
Right. And that's why we have the more potent formulas, the upgraded formulas, because when someone comes to us and they're very sick, that's what they need. They need to get help as quickly as possible. So, and then, back to the question with vitamin C, if someone who has diabetes or insulin resistant, vitamin C is not going to work for them as well. And the simple reason is because the structure of vitamin C and the structure of glucose are identical. Google it now. The structure of vitamin C and the structure of glucose. So if you have diabetes where your sugar or the glucose is always high, the body is always going to use sugar first. It will never even look at the vitamin C floating around in your bloodstream. So if you have diabetes, you have insulin resistant, you have glucose floating in the bloodstream that are higher than the norm, very likely your body is not going to use the vitamin C. So there are a lot of nuances to supplements that we know, that we have figured out, that you may be talking to nutritionists and other people who just don't know, even doctors, and they just don't know. So that's why we do these Q&A again, so we can, give you all this information, and you see how you fit in. You see, based on your lab reports, your radiology exams, your health history, the work environment you're in, or your living environment, you can use all the information we give you to see what you need to do. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different situation. But the foundation of what we do, helping the body to purify itself, rebuild itself, helping the body to fix itself, heal itself, that's the foundation of what we do at NuSpecian.
All right. And then just to repeat, and I've put it in the chat as well. So it's the guide formula 1 or 4 that can be ordered over the phone with our team, or you can purchase it in our store. And then the LNU25. And I put a link to that on our website that also can be purchased in store as well.
Right. So the guide formulas are not on the website. You cannot purchase them on the website. You have to call to be able to get them because they're proprietary. It's something I don't say as much, especially when doing education.
Right. So now if they're not comfortable with the proprietary formula where they can't see the ingredients, is it's LNU25 and then is there something else?
LNU25 is going to be the next best shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just by itself.
Yeah.
But maybe take more.
Take an ounce, take an ounce every day, or take an ounce twice a day. And then a lot of you are going to say, but Aston, it's going to finish so quickly. Don't worry about how quickly it finishes. We could put any NuSpecian formula in a gallon bottle and it won't work any faster. So if you take it for 6 months, you're just going to wait 6 months to get the results you need. So we try to give you results as quickly as possible by making our formulas as potent as is safe for you to take them.
Okay. June says that she learns something new every week.
Okay, June, I'm going to send you a bill, snail mail bill.
Okay. All right. Next question is in our chat. Comes from Melissa. Apologize if I don't say your name correctly. How long does Queen Nanny take to work for fibroids?
That's a really good question. So that question has so many parts to it. Yeah. It could take a year. It could take a few months. It could take more than a year. Everybody's body is different. If your FSH is off, which is the hormone, the stimulating hormones, especially those being produced by the pituitary gland, and these are the hormones that monitor for women her breast glands and her reproductive system here, the uterus, where fibroids usually are. If that's off, then it could even take longer, because think of it this way: the way Queen Nanny works, it helps the woman's body to normalize hormonal imbalance. If you have fibroids, it means that you have a lot of hormones that are in a state of imbalance, and probably for years, beginning with the pituitary gland, the thyroid. Even if it doesn't show up on your lab report, there's a problem, because the pituitary gland is the most important gland in our body. And if you have something happening with the uterus, like with fibroids or endometriosis or the ovarian cyst, it means that something is wrong with the pituitary gland in the brain. So the Queen Nanny will work to help to balance the hormones. So once your hormones are balanced, that's how cysts and fibroids and all these issues start to shrink away, because now the chronic hormonal imbalance, like estrogen, testosterone, are no longer burning the cells, let's say in this case in the uterus. That's what caused those abnormal cells to multiply, and that's what causes cysts. That's what causes fibroid. That's what caused endometriosis. So the key is to balance the hormones. So the Queen Nanny, for some women, it works within months, some a couple months, and other women it takes a lot longer. But once they stay in it, they could see their hormones balancing out, and they see the fibroids shrinking. In some cases, the fibroids shrink away completely, and in other cases, some women pass out the fibroids. So it all depends on how, the status of your body in general, and how long you have had the fibroids, how long you've had the hormonal imbalance. And, for a lot of women, they had fibroids, they did surgery. And when they did surgery to remove the fibroids, scar tissue is left, but then the fibroids grow back numerous, then even more numerous than they were in the first place. And then for those women, they have to fight the scar tissue now because the scar tissue have caused blood vessels to be blocked. So you see the complication. And unfortunately, there's no pharmaceutical medication to shrink fibroids, to balance hormones, and that's why we have these formulas that we use for women's health. And yes, if you're taking medication, you could still take NuSpecian, take the Queen Nanny or NuSpecian along with the medication. But that's what we're doing. We're giving your body what it needs for your body to heal itself. Your body's going to heal itself based on how strong your body really is. But what we give you will work. It will work. We just don't know how long it will take.
Additionally, someone who is helping their body rebuild with fibroids, they wouldn't be taking Queen Annie alone.
No, I'm just speaking to the hormone imbalance that causes the fibroids. I'm not sure if you're a gynecologist or your primary care or any specialist you work with have told you that. Any woman who has ovarian cysts or dense breasts or fibroids or thyroid nodule, all of these issues, just like diabetes, they're hormonal issues. And you have to fix the hormonal issue at the organ level, at the cellular level, at the gene level. The genes are damaged and they produce abnormal hormones. That's what turn into cysts or lumps or fibroids. So yes, you also have to rebuild your body. So we have a startup system for women with fibroids, and we have a startup system for women who have hormonal imbalance. So it's, as I explain it, everyone is at a different level. Some women may have to take 2 Queen Annie, depending on how bad their condition is. A lot of women who have fibroids, they bleed a lot. They have, the cycle is, goes on nonstop, literally. They have it, twice a month, and they're very anemic. So women who have their body breaking down that badly may need to take 2 Queen Annie daily, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, depending on how bad it is. Because if you're anemic only because you're losing too much blood. You're losing so much blood, your bone marrow, which is programmed to produce only a certain amount of red blood cells or hemoglobin, it will not produce more. It's just the way God designed our body. It will not produce more than it's programmed to produce. So if you're losing too much blood, that's why some women go anemic for years until their bodies just break down and they develop other diseases like blood pressure and heart disease.
Right. So I was only saying that because her question was specific to Queen Annie, and Queen Annie alone wouldn't be used when someone is trying to rebuild with fibroids. Right. So I'm only saying that to make sure, Melissa, if you are only taking Queen Annie, then that could impact. I am taking the Queen Annie and colon detox. Okay, right. So I just linked to the fibroid support starter so you can see the difference between just using Queen Annie and actually helping your body rebuild with fibroids. Just keep in mind that there is no one product for one issue, because we are not only is NuSpecian not selling treatments or cures, but that's just not how the body works anyway. There's entire body systems that are involved in why things start to go wrong. And so we need to help the body on multiple foundational levels. So it wouldn't just be one product for one issue. And the package will show you the difference between rebuilding from fibroids and just using Queen Annie for women's health. All right. If you want to add anything else to that, continue to chat. No problem. I'm just going to move on to our next question. So the next question is, what is the best formula to boost your iron quickly?
So you just heard me. If your iron is low, so for men and women, it can be very different, right? So, but the two or three major things that cause people in general, men or women, to have low iron. One, they have bleeding. They're having some form of internal bleeding. If it's not bleeding that's causing it, then that person need to sit down with their primary care to get some really specific testing. So the three major reasons why people are low in iron, because they have kidney disease, so they're losing blood. They have hemorrhoids or some issues with their colon, so they have internal bleeding. And then for women, it's menstrual. And the bone marrow, again, is not making enough red blood cells. In this case, hemoglobin is a culprit. So if your hemoglobin is low, you're automatically anemic, because hemoglobin are the red blood cells that carry iron in our bodies, in all humans' bodies. So if you're anemic, it's not an iron issue, even though you may eventually, if your iron level, if your hemoglobin, if it drops too low to 6 or below, they may give you iron transfusion, blood transfusion. But if it's a menstrual issue you have that's causing it, you have to fix the hormones. It's the only way to fix it. Yes, we have our B vitamins, we have our mineral complex, we have our vitamin D. Those will help you to support your bone marrow to produce red blood cells more quickly. Not iron, red blood cells. Once your body has enough red blood cells, the hemoglobin, your body automatically will have adequate iron. I have never heard of a case in the history of anything, medicine or science, where someone's hemoglobin was perfectly normal and they were anemic. When that happens, it's only because of some specific genetic condition that person has. So if you're anemic, it's because your red blood cells are low, especially the hemoglobin. Those three formulas can, at the basic level, support your body, your bone marrow, and your genes, the B vitamins, the mineral complex, and the vitamin D. You would just go on those and stay in those. And then, if it's menstrual that's causing it, then you need to get the Queen Annie to normalize your menstrual, so that over time, your bone marrow can catch up with replenishing the blood levels, especially the hemoglobin.
Okay.
So you all are seeing that you go to the doctor because you have fibroids, especially, women. By the way, this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so maybe next week we'll do a little something on breast cancer. But you all are seeing now that, ladies, you have fibroids, or you have menopause, you have ovarian cysts, you have thyroid issue. They're 99% of the time hormonal issues. And there's no medicine, there's no pharmaceutical medicine that can balance your hormones. None. So
Just recap. So the three products would be the B vitamins, the mineral complex,
and the vitamin D.
and the vitamin D.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why we have these formulas to help to support your body, so your body can help itself. Your body can normalize itself, normalize the hormones. As soon as these levels are normalized, especially for women, estrogen, progesterone, steroids, testosterone, those are usually the culprits for women, causing all the issues you have, or, especially depressing your immune system. Your bodies will just go back to normal.
All right. We have one more pre-submitted question that hopefully we can get to right now, where the show is coming to an end. Just so you all know, all of our shows are archived on NuSpeciesTV.com. So if you missed anything, you don't have to stress that. Just as soon as we end the show, it gets archived on NuSpeciesTV.com. And all the most recent episodes we've done will always be right up top. So if you just go there, NuSpeciesTV.com, you can see today's show and watch it again. You can scroll through it and skip to the part where your question was answered. Roy asks, my son is 21. He has borderline diabetes. What do you suggest for him?
Is it type 1 or 2?
I'm assuming if it's borderline, it's type 2. Otherwise, it would be full-blown diabetes if it was type 1, right? But Roy, if you could let us know for sure, type 2 diabetes?
So if it's type 2, we have formulas that we have used successfully to help our clients with diabetes. So I'm sorry to hear that your young son has a chronic issue like this. And
Type 2, he confirmed.
Great. So I say great only because the type 1 is the one that's really bad. Probably if he has type 1, he will have it for life. Type 2, we can help you and your son. We have the starter system for diabetes, and we have the more upgraded system. So if his A1C is under 7, then he could just do the starter system we have to help his body to fix itself from type 2 diabetes. But if it's above 7, your son may need the upgraded version. But either one will work. The basic one takes longer, but it works. The upgraded one works faster. He could get results faster. So he's 21. He's out of the. He's not growing as much or probably at all anymore. So yes, so he can do the upgraded if you want to get him in something that works a little faster.
Right, and that one includes a God formula, so I believe you have to call to place the order. Mary put the number in there. And then for any of you who do ask us to email you, please know that sometimes our emails go to spam because it's a NuSpecian.com email, and I don't know how the spam filters work, but I did send the email just before that was requested. So if you don't see it in your inbox right now, please check your spam. All right, one more question that was pre-submitted. All right. I have a friend with some irregular menstrual symptoms, discomfort, and strong mood fluctuations leading up to the beginning of her cycle. We talked about using Queen Nanny to help her body with the hormonal imbalance, but it came up that her doctors had found a cyst on her pituitary gland years ago. They said it was too small for surgical intervention at the time and are monitoring the size, anticipating it will eventually need to be removed. Will the Queen Nanny help someone in her situation, or does she need to take another route to deal with the cyst and the effect it is probably having on her endocrine system?
So every lady, every woman who has any form of thyroid, pituitary gland, breasts, ovarian or uterine cyst or lump or mass should Google. I say Google only because you can Google, but try to find like a medical journal, or maybe you go to the National Institutes of Health. It's a federal government database with research and scientific studies that have been done. But every woman, I think, even if you don't have those, you probably have family members or children, grandchildren who will have an issue related to follicle stimulating hormones. I think every woman should read that, should study it, because it is the heart and soul of women's issues. Whether it's the pituitary gland that produces it, by the way, and then that hormone is used to help to monitor the thyroid, the breast gland, the ovaries, and the uterus, among other glands. There are many other glands in the body, but those are the ones that seem to pop up in medical situations with illnesses. So yes, the Queen Annie will help with that. But then for the cyst, you will need to add in the MSM, and you may need to add in even the Focus. The Focus and the MSM are better at helping people with cysts and lumps and bumps and issues like those when it comes to those glands. So you could try the Focus first, along with the MSM, and add in the vitamin D, because I've never come across a lady who has any of these issues and their vitamin D was low. Mm-hmm. I've never come across one. So the vitamin D, Focus, the MSM, and then if the result is not fast enough, then you may need to add in the Queen Annie. The Queen Annie is our quintessential formula that we use for ladies' hormonal imbalance, whether it's thyroid or the pituitary gland, the uterus, the ovary, the breast gland. This is our primary formula we use to help to balance hormones. But every woman should research follicle stimulating hormones, and just read about it, because at some point in your life you're going to have an issue related to that. Even if it's menopause or postmenopause, you're going to have an issue related to that.
And
So
the
might as well you know what it is, and you can start eating better, taking better care of yourselves to avoid this issue if you don't have this issue. Yes.
Right. And the follicle is the precursor to a cyst.
Right. So the follicles are actually how the body has your ovaries or your uterus. All these are all these glands have the follicles. They actually produce hormones, but it's when they start producing too much hormones. That's the problem, because of some issues with the genes.
And there could be so many.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
And then the follicles, as you say, they turn to cysts, they turn to lumps, they turn to bumps, they turn to fibroids, they turn to cancer. Eventually, can turn to cancer.
Right.
So all women have, all men and women have these follicles. That's why they call them follicles. Just these little lumps, organs that produce various different types of hormones.
Right. And one of the things we've mentioned on the show before is beauty products that essentially have chemicals in them that are known endocrine disruptors. And so if we keep putting these products on our skin and letting them get into our bodies, we are disrupting our endocrine system, which is the system that manages our hormone production. And so we
You're
can
exactly right.
eat as well as we want. We can exercise, we can sleep, we can drink our water, take our NuSpecian, and still have issues because of the powerful chemicals that we are putting on our bodies every single day. And it's not just one beauty product or a skincare product. It's every single one of them. And you're using, I mean, you could probably count up to 10 very easily on your hands. You're probably using those every single day, maybe twice a day. So that you have to look at that and take that very seriously if you have hormonal issues.
The secret is that, you're exactly right. The secret is that our DNA and genes are made from chemicals. The main ones: oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, carbon, nitrogen. I mentioned hydrogen. Those are the main ones. So when we eat food, all the foods we have, all the synthetic foods that they have out there, all the synthetic foods have a combination of those. All synthetic foods. The reason why all synthetic foods have that is because of carbon. These chemicals work perfectly with carbon, and that's how life was formed. So when we use these shampoos or skincare or toothpaste and soaps and all these things we use, and then we eat the foods that have preservative, it's the only way they can make the preservative to work in foods and the food not spoil. They have to use combination of these chemicals. Same thing with medication. That's why medication have side effects. So when you use these synthetic chemicals, people, they interact with our DNA and our genes. And that's how we get sick. A Nobel Prize was awarded on this in 1934 and 1935 to a gentleman named Warburg. Research him. He said the single cause of why humans get all these cancers and diseases from that early is because of the synthetic foods, the synthetic chemicals that are made in labs. Because if the manufacturing companies were to use natural stuff like we do, they wouldn't be able to mass produce and make a lot of money off us. They wouldn't be able to do it. So they have to replicate the chemicals in the lab, but they don't really replicate it. It's now a compound. It's no longer a chemical, it's now a compound. That's what they have in the foods. That's what they have in all these health products and skincare. That's what they have. Okay? And I know it sounds crazy, but one day you should talk about that program that you watch on TV about these people who live long lives and where they live and how they live.
Oh, I do intend to talk about that show. Yeah, it is great.
And when you watch that show, you'll see why my grandmother lived to 99 years old, why my grandfather lived to over 100, and why my parents didn't live that long, not even close, because they got caught up in the so-called modern lifestyle.
Yeah. If you have Netflix, it's a limited series that's on Netflix. It's called Live to 100, The Secrets of the Blue Zones. And at first I thought it was just going to be, these people live these exceptional lives and eat all this great food and they're super fit and into their old age, but it actually ended up being about way more than just what they eat. It looks at life in a much more holistic way. And it's interesting too, because they show how, like, from when the man originally studied these folks and their cultures, that 20 years later he would go back to the same places and those blue zones had disappeared because of modern ways had creeped into these more remote areas. But he also is showing how you can create new blue zones if people start to change their lifestyles. But it's more than just about fitness and clean eating, like a lot of the stuff you see on Instagram and Facebook these days. It's stuff that we could all take a harder look at in our lives and really bring a lot more joy and happiness and peace in our lives. And so it just goes beyond food and exercise. So I think it's a wonderful watch for anyone. And every episode, it's only 4 episodes, just kept surprising me more and more. I think it was really enlightening, and I recommend, if you have Netflix, that you should watch it. But I do plan on writing a little blog post about it and talking about it as well.
Great. Mm-hmm. So fast food, fast lane, you crash and you die quickly. Fast food, fast lane, crash and die quickly.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about in the beginning, about all these young people between 30 and 60. That is the number 1 cause, and the number 2 and number 3 causes why so many young people are dying at a young age.
Yeah. And it's good news and it's bad news, but it's also good news because it means that it can be changed. It is not some mystery. We don't need 1,000 scientific studies to figure it out. It is what we're doing. We're choosing to do every single day, and it takes the same amount of energy to make this choice or this choice. It's just what has habit allowed us, what choices are we making more because of habits or just not knowing better. So once we know better, it's on us to make a different choice. We can change that.
So buy all your family members the NuSpecian Detox. NuSpecian Detox is completely natural. That's a good start for all your family members. The holidays are coming up. Birthdays are coming up. Don't buy them shoes and pocketbooks and wallets and all the garbage. Let them live a little longer. At least buy them the Detox.
Or live better, or both.
It's hard to live better.
You know what? When we find the right root cause, it's not as hard. And it's going to be different for all of us. We all have our weaknesses, whatever it might be. I have 100% detoxified my lifestyle when it comes to cleaning products and skincare and beauty products. But I have not figured out the food side yet. So that's my journey.
But not for easy.
You, maybe you eat really healthy, but then you still
breathe in the air.
Put your head in a bathtub when you're cleaning Clorox and get headaches from the chemicals you're breathing in, and you're probably unnecessarily sanitizing your tub with Clorox. You could probably cut that out and you might feel a lot better. And so we all need to look at our lives with an open mind and see where we can improve how we care for ourselves. And so anyway, we'll keep getting into that because it takes a lot of repetition before any of us make any change.
And we could keep going on this.
None of us are an exception. And we're happy to continue to remind you and share with you what we learn and help you continue on your journey. We did get to one question that there was one question submitted that we didn't get to, and so that was related to fibroids and pregnancy, and we will get to that question next week. You just put an I, so I'm going to say I is your name. We will get to you next week with that question, so please come back and join us.
And I think maybe next week we could do a little bit on breast cancer awareness. So ladies and gentlemen, please invite family and friends to listen in. We have this program on a Saturday morning because we know you're all at home. Yes, you're going to go shopping, you're going to go to church and all of that, but you can give us 15 minutes to just talk to you about all the things that we talk about on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Right. Have a great weekend.
All right. Remember, these shows are all archived on NuSpeciesTV.com. So if you've missed any other episodes in the past and you want to learn from other people's questions, please go to NuSpeciesTV.com to watch them. If you have not downloaded New Species app, please download it because you'll get notifications when we're going live. The next time we'll be live is Monday morning at 11 a.m. for Aston's Monday School, where, here we talk about physical health. On Monday mornings, Aston talks about spiritual and mental health. And I think it's really, from the lens of human history. And I think it's really important that everyone exposes themselves to this unique set of knowledge that Aston shares. So Monday morning, 11 a.m. If you were on our app, you'd get those notifications. And then finally, please join our email list. It's the best way for us to reach out to you. It's an honor and a privilege if you allow us to email you most of the time, just once per week. And hopefully it's useful information. So that's the way to stay in touch with New Species. Otherwise, we will see you next Saturday at 10 a.m. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Take care.